Hello, members. Welcome back to another episode of the SCIF. We are glad to have you, and thank you so much for supporting this show. Today's episode is going to be a rundown on how and why Javier Milei is in trouble, potentially going to be impeached for some meme coin drama that's going on. It's all over X right now, and people are kind of freaking out about it. Kyle, as our resident crypto expert, is going to explain some things about meme coins, how they work, and then why Javier Milei is in some hot water over this. Kyle, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. It's been interesting watching how the press has been covering it. One, I feel like they haven't been covering it as much as I would expect them to be covering it. And two, it's because I don't think they understand it. And I don't think really normal people understand what's going on either. So like a lot of people are just kind of like, wait, Milei's in trouble? What? I don't understand what's going on. And, like, I feel like that's the vibe around it if you're outside of crypto, because it's all crypto related, right? Like, does that make sense? Do you guys feel that way? Like with how you've seen it? Like,
well, I'll be honest. I haven't seen a ton about it. I haven't done a ton of digging into it. Yeah. So I might actually be, a good conduit here for helping people who maybe understand a little bit less than I do about crypto. Yeah. And I understand enough to be dangerous, probably. Just how to kind of like unpack this. So,
well, and that'll actually be good because like I might use terminology and you understand crypto enough where you can slow me down, I think, on particular things.
For sure.
So the baseline of here what's happened is that Milei endorsed a meme coin that
How
then
did he do
that with a tweet. And then there's a bunch of background stuff of like there was a bunch of plans with the meme coin, and then he
was kind of the Hawk one.
No, it was not Hawk, but I do want to talk a little bit about Hawk actually, because I want to talk about meme coins a little bit to kind of give people an understanding. Because like I have had a lot of people ask me about Trump coin, Melania coin, Hawk a little bit, but then this Milei coin is in that kind of bubble. So I want to start off giving a little bit of people like a little bit of historical knowledge on in some insight into crypto culture and how crypto has evolved over time. Particularly that there's kind of like different camps within crypto. And this is very much in the much more degenerate camp, we might say. So Bitcoin, it started in 2009 and it was born out of the 2008 financial crisis, right? It always had this like cypherpunk libertarian energy focused on like sovereignty and being your own bank. And I think, Joe, right? Like that's how you and I both got into crypto, right?
Absolutely.
Like that was kind of the original vision.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when did you get into crypto, Joe?
I think it came across my radar. It would have been in college, probably right around, early, probably 2010, 11.
Wow.
And as I recall, I bought my first Bitcoin in some coffee shop. Some guy like gave me a Post-it note with his wallet address or whatever, or it was a very analog transaction is what I remember of the situation. And there was not a lot of infrastructure around it. It was super like, okay, I'm going to hand this guy some cash and hopefully I'm going to get this thing back that supposedly has value. We'll see.
That seems like super sketchy.
It was as close as you can get to a drug deal without there actually being drugs involved.
That's hilarious. Well, yeah, because like the vision I feel like started becoming more of a realization and becoming more of a reality probably around 2014 or so. This is where you have Ross Ulbricht and Silk Road and all of this starts going on, where it starts being used as like payment for various activities, right? But then, and when I got in was like 2016. That's when I actually had kind of capital to be able to invest in things, right? Then Ethereum launches in 2015, and this becomes like a very different thing from Bitcoin, where it's seen much more as like the developer coin, and it's much more of a vision of this like world supercomputer, where it introduces smart contracts that run on top of the blockchain, and it introduces like these decentralized applications, so people can have apps on blockchain technology, and this is what fueled the ICO boom, which is initial coin offerings, which is where a lot of the, let's say, gamblers mentality started to come in to crypto culture in 2017. 2017 is when Bitcoin reached $20,000 for the first time. A lot of people started flooding in, and it started getting that like stock trader stuff, because you started having all of these new coins that are kind of like stocks, but not really stocks, that were being bought and traded with like on top of Ethereum, right?
Can you really quickly kind of just elaborate a little bit on the ICO thing? Because I think that's sort of relevant to this conversation.
Yeah. So similar to like a stock offering when a stock initially goes public, and there's a bunch of things that like there's a bunch of stocks that get flooded out into the market. Basically, that's essentially what was happening with these initial coin offerings in 2017, where people were jumping and aping into brand new coins, trying to get rich off of these new coins. And there's just coins that started spawning everywhere. Like before that, you kind of just had like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dogecoin. There wasn't really like much more than that. And then everybody started flooding in, trying to kind of ape into new projects all the time, right?
And for those who aren't crypto degens, what does ape in mean?
Just throwing money at things and hoping that they pop off, and then you can sell them for profit, right?
Got it.
So that was kind of that cycle, which was the cycle that was like really my first big cycle. And then come last cycle in 2020 during COVID and all this, there's a new chain that launched called Solana. Ethereum was becoming so heavily utilized because of all these decentralized applications that were coming on it, where people that are wanting to high velocity trade, especially with like nonsense tokens that they're kind of just gambling on, was clogging up the Ethereum network a lot. Like a transaction fee might be $50. Like I remember seeing $200 transaction fees during this period on Ethereum. Like it was so clogged and so slow. It was before a lot of changes had occurred, where Solana gets introduced, and it's built for speed. It's more centralized. It's the devs can kind of like make quick fixes. They shut down the chain and then bring up the chain, and all of that meme coin degenerate gambling infrastructure basically moved over to Solana. And over the last 4 years, there's become this culture known as the trench warriors, where they're basically just going in and trading meme coins nonstop. There's Shiba Inu, there's Fart Coin, there's Ticker Bitcoin. Like there's all these, like Ticker Bitcoin is literally a meme coin that's just using the name Bitcoin. And just became really popular, right?
Don't forget the illustrious Cum Rocket.
Cum Rocket was actually on BNB.
Oh,
that was on Binance Smart Chain. But like that was another kind of example of it, where they started to shift the degenerate mindset onto other chains. And there just started being massive trading of kind of like, you go in CoinGecko and you just see there's millions of coins. That's where a lot of that stems from. So in that time period, we saw crypto culture get divided into really 3 different major cultures. Like there's other cultures, but you have kind of you have the Bitcoin maximalists, which I know Joe and I both have strong opinions on this culture, which they have this mindset of it's only Bitcoin. Everything else is a scam. Don't focus on anything. You should just buy and hold Bitcoin. That's all that you should do. Who cares? Blah, 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 whatever. I have qualms with that culture, but then there's like Ethereum developer culture, where it's just like people that want to build things into the supercomputer that is blockchain technology. And a lot of those cultures kind of got subdivided by people, holding on to high profile NFT projects as cultural symbols. This is where my penguin stuff comes in. I am part of that. Like I am embedded in that culture quite heavily. And then there's Solana trench warrior culture. And these are your degen gamblers of meme coins. These are the 3 major pillars of crypto right now, if I was to like break it down. So that brings us to current day, where we are going to talk about Solana trench warrior stuff and how this has reached presidential levels and nation states and international scandals.
I love it. So
does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Leading up to this right now.
And regarding your questions that you've had from other folks about Trump coin and that sort of thing, is Trump coin on Solana?
Yes.
Okay. And Melania coin too, I presume.
Yep. Yeah. So over the last 4 years, it's become incredibly easy to launch zero utility coins. Like there are programs that you can use, and you can literally just put in how many tokens do you want, blah, blah, blah. And you can just launch a coin within seconds. It's like there's pump.fun. There's all these different things for coin launching.
And so really quickly, can you just clarify, like you said, zero utility coins. What differentiates a coin with utility versus one with no utility?
There's like some sort of coding in it that does something. And it's not just like literally just a bunch of tokens with a name on it.
So like, for example, with some like Ethereum chains or like Bitcoin, like BSV, for example, you can store data on chain, and then the token is sort of just a representation of the value of the chain itself for its utility for storing data.
Yeah, and actually, it's important to recognize this is something that people outside of crypto don't really understand is happening with crypto, is that a lot of what is called layer one chains, like Bitcoin is its own layer one, Ethereum is a layer one, Solana is a layer one. These are like, think of them, so like there's the universe that is crypto as at large, and think of these chains as like galaxies that don't really interact with the other galaxies so much. So like Bitcoin is its own galaxy. Ethereum is its own galaxy. Solana is its own galaxy. Like, and when I'm talking about divided cultures, this is kind of what I'm talking about. Is like the Bitcoin people don't really interact with the Ethereum people. The Ethereum people don't really interact with the Solana people. They're starting to bridge now in this time, but like things that get built up on top of Ethereum are built on Ethereum. Things that are built on Solana are built on Solana. They don't really cross-pollinate that much. And that's why there's like different cultures that have formed. So on top of Solana, people are making tokens that can be traded on the Solana network. And this is where you get Trump coin. During the bear market, you had Caitlyn Jenner launched a coin. It was called Jenner. Iggy Azalea launched a coin. It was called Mother. Andrew Tate kind of adopted a coin and called Daddy and kind of did it to kind of make fun of Iggy Azalea. Right? Hawk Tua launched a coin, and her insiders kind of rugged that coin in a sense. It was a quasi rug. Trump, a few days before the inauguration, launched Trump coin, the official Trump coin. It's a zero utility coin. It doesn't have any utility to it, and people were just kind of buying into the culture of it, right? There's other meme coins: Doge, Pepe, Shiba Inu, Fartcoin, Ticker Bitcoin, etc. Like, and a lot of these coins have developed cultures around them to the point where the communities around those coins sponsor fighters, like in Dubai, and like they go to war with each other. Like, it's a very weird social experiment that's going on, you could say. Right.
Okay. So where does Javier Milei come in?
So where Javier Milei comes in. So on February 14th, the timeline goes like this. He meets in January with this group called Kelsier Ventures, which is kind of like a token launch group. Like, they specialize in advising people on token launches. On February 14th, he tweets out an endorsement he says, liberal Argentina grows. This private project will be dedicated to encourage the growth of Argentina's economy, funding small Argentine companies and ventures. The world wants to invest in Argentina, $Libra. And then he accompanies the contract address. This is how you kind of get in early. You use the contract address on the exchanges so that you can kind of get the coin. So he tweets this out, and then there's like a Google sign up for businesses to be able to participate in it as well. How that actually worked, it was very vague. It's all deleted now. It's hard to find now. But so he tweets this out. The coin then gets trading begins about 2 hours after the endorsement on Meteora, which is a decentralized exchange, decentralized app on Solana, and it pumps. It goes crazy. It goes to about $4.5 billion in market cap. It goes wild. People that got in early, they made out great, assuming they sold. But the problem is, there was massive sniping that occurred, and then
what's sniping?
And when the coin comes, people very quickly use bots, and they try to get in extremely early, and they try to accumulate as much coins as possible, and then they try to dump on everybody else. Right? So we ended up seeing just a massive crash occur. I think it was something like 90% went down from the top.
Wow. So
you have all these people buying in because, oh my God, a president just endorsed the coin. And then it just crashes on them, right? On February, so three hours later, he just deletes all the promotional material he had on the project, and he just completely like washes his hands clean. Milei does. February 15th, the next day, he refers himself to the Argentina's anti-corruption office to investigate potential misconduct. So he puts himself forward to anti-corruption office. February 16th, the opposition party files 100 Supreme Court complaints against Milei.
100.
100, accusing him of a scam impacting 40,000 investors. keep in mind, it is only like 40 to 50,000 people that are involved in all this, right? That actually like bought in and things like that. It's not actually like that many people, really. February 17th, Milei takes on his first interview, insisting that he did not promote it. He only spread the word. And he said, if you go to the casino and lose money, that's your fault. Plus, it was mostly Asians who bought it.
What?
Yeah, he's like, Argentinians didn't even really buy it. Like that was kind of he's like, Argentinians don't know how to use crypto. Like that was kind of the point he was making. February 18th, fraud charges were put against Milei, alleging he misled investors by framing Libra as a serious initiative. And on February 19th, Nansen, who's actually like, I know people over at Nansen, they're a great AI platform for crypto. They reported that 86% of Libra traders lost a combined $251 million. Well, the minority made about $180 million. So that's where like the damage is done there. So there raises questions. How much did Milei actually know what was going on with the coin? How involved was he actually? Was this a serious project gone wrong? Did it get, or was it a rug? These are all the questions that are kind of existing in the milieu. And
what is a rug specifically? For those,
a rug is when the developers of a coin pull their liquidity out of it, which then kind of causes a collapsing of an entire collapsing of the price. Okay, so there enters a guy by the name of Hayden Davis. This is a guy nobody knew who he was. I had never heard of him beforehand. And he puts out this video talking about what happened. He is the CEO of Kelsier Ventures, who were the strategists behind the token launch of Libra. And I want to play this video for you guys. Just off rip, he looks interesting. He looks like autistic henchman turned mob boss. That's kind of what he seems like to me.
The glasses, though, they really get me.
Here is the vibe that Kelsier Ventures wanted to set with the coin. And actually, it's worth mentioning. Milei, back in January, tweeted out an image with him saying that this is my crypto advisor.
Interesting.
So here is the image that they wish to portray.
Hey guys, my name's Hayden. I know there's tons of frustration.
He's 28 years old, by the way.
I've had tons of crazy text messages on my phone. I'm here to set the record straight, both because there were things that were in and out of my control. I was only a part of what's happened with Libra, but also I want to just shed a little bit more light and let you guys at least see my face, because a lot of people that have been involved with this launch have gone either silent or are nowhere to be found. And I want to make sure there's A, accountability, and B, a structure going forward so that people don't feel screwed over. And I do believe there's actually an amazing way forward if people are open to it. Before I say anything else, I am indeed Javier Milei's advisor. Obviously, I think most of you guys have seen that either on Twitter or some form of social media. I am working with him and his team on much bigger tokenization and really cool stuff in Argentina, and I absolutely back him. What happened with Libra, I think there's many things I could say. There's only certain elements that I could control the launch. Definitely things didn't go according to plan. But rather than share all the details right now, because it's going to be a much longer video.
I'm going to pause it there and I'll kind of give the TLDR from there.
Cool.
So he basically goes on to say that he has collected over $100 million from the project that he is now the custodian of. And he kind of claims that he's confused on who the technical owner of that $100 million is, but it's currently under a multi-sig address, which is a fancy type of wallet, where he is now the custodian of over $100 million. And he's trying to put forward of like hey, we can fix this. We can inject the money back into the token and try to pump it back up and try to make people whole that way. We can do refunds on 50,000 people, which is going to be a nightmare to do refunds on that. Mm-hmm. And so on. And he even kind of claims like, well, the Milei team's reversal caused the crash by him like endorsing it and then not endorsing it. That's what caused the crash. And like, so it's not a rug pull. It's just a plan gone wrong. And the Milei team kind of screwed up. Now, granted, it was crashing before he pulled his endorsement. The reason why he pulled his endorsement was because it was crashing, right?
That's a pretty important timeline to consider, I would say.
important timeline. But then he goes on to, do you guys know who CoffeeZilla is?
I've actually heard of it, but I don't actually know.
So CoffeeZilla is this YouTuber. He's been on Joe Rogan. He kind of specializes in reporting on scams. That's kind of what his whole YouTube thing is.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I do remember this.
Yeah. And that being said, he has taken a particular focus in meme coin culture because that's where a lot of scams are happening. It's an unfortunate area of truly free markets is meme coin culture. That's an unfortunate consequence. Milei wanted free markets and he got free markets, you could say. But so he goes on to CoffeeZilla's and does an interview and basically is just like self-incriminating himself in a lot of ways, where he talks about Hayden is just on the phone. It's just all CoffeeZilla here. He kind of admits to that. One thing, he admits that he was involved in the Melania coin launch. He was on both projects. So these things are kind of together. And here I will kind of play that, and then I will kind of give my thoughts on there.
So, but if you launch the coin, isn't it unfair for you to snipe the coin?
So I would say no. And I would say that for a couple different reasons. Number one, a lot of the times when
I think I pulled the wrong thing, but this is
much larger conversation, which is what I told you in text. But most of the time when I have different money in different places, obviously. But from the standpoint of sniping, most of the time when we're sniping, we're attempting to avoid other snipers getting in.
Okay, so the context to this clip here is what happened with the Melania coin. So Trump launched his coin, and then a few days later, Melania launched her coin. They were different teams that did it. And when the Melania coin launched, everybody was like taking their profits from Trump and moving into Melania, and then both coins just completely crashed because all the liquidity started getting screwed up. So the context here is he was saying that as part of the Melania launch strategy, they were sniping, the launch team was sniping their own coins in order to outsnipe the people that were trying to snipe so that they could re-inject the coins back into the market. So you basically is like you're kind of coordinating a crash, and then you're trying to stabilize the price and then make the coin healthy after the crash occurs. That was the plan that he was doing. So he basically is saying that the reason why Milei coin crashed or Libre coin crashed is because internal people were sniping the coin. And this is where the $100 million that he has accumulated has come from. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but it also just seems totally sketchy and fraudulent.
Yeah, I mean, I share this guy's reaction basically when the guy was on the video.
It's like, yeah, do you think it's wrong for you to snipe a coin you created and launched? And he's like, no. I'm like, well, I guess I could see where he's coming from if he's trying to like ward off other people doing that maliciously, but also like, I don't know what this whole thing is just sort of like wild to me. That someone would go put money into a coin.
It's presidential levels. That's the crazy thing, is that this is happening on presidential levels.
Well, the concern is that like, okay, this guy is Milei's advisor. Why wouldn't he advise him to the fact that when you launch this, people are going to flood into it because you're a notable figure and they trust you, and then it's going to crash and your trust is going to go down as a result of that. Like, isn't that a part of the advising process?
Well, and here, allow this video from that interview as well, because I listened to the whole interview and it was pretty wild to listen to it. But here is CoffeeZilla kind of makes an interesting point about this whole sniping strategy.
But the intention is to do that, but it doesn't matter. They all get sniped. You could launch it at $1 billion. You could launch it at 500. You could launch it at 200. You could launch it at 300. They all get sniped.
It's kind of like this. Okay, finally, I've kind of come up with this thing. Like you're like a bank, right? And you go like, hey, there's money in the bank. Come like try to kind of play the game. But you're like, look, I'm afraid that people are going to get to my bank vault first. So I'm going to rob myself first in order to put money back in the vault later. And we just all are squinting our eyes like, well, are you ever going to actually put the money back in the vault? And that's kind of this weird like trust game we have to play of, oh yeah,
that actually sounds exactly like crypto, but sure. Like, yeah, I mean, that's actually not the worst that's not the worst depiction.
Dude.
Joe's reaction was pretty good.
It actually just sounds totally like crypto. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're robbing themselves to put it back in later. And there's the question of like, well, are you going to put it back in? Because another thing that he says from this interview is just like, he's confused about who, like, he is the one currently controlling over $100 million.
Well,
and he's like, who do I talk to in order to be able to know what to do with the $100 million? Because the Milei team is not communicating with me anymore.
Aren't you the fucking advisor? Shouldn't you have the plan, bro? What the fuck? And also,
but it gets
really quick. You made a point about this amount of money or these amount of tokens being under a multi-sig address, which basically multi-signature, right? Which means that multiple people have to input their keys in order to move the coins anywhere. So who are the other people?
And there lies a question I believe I heard in this interview, and this is where the guy's story is not making sense to me. There's a lot of things like I would have to go through hours of footage to be able to, because like Dave Portnoy even gets involved in here too, and I want to talk about that as well because that's also interesting.
Yeah, I saw him in the notes. And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, but I believe Hayden said in somewhere in the series of interviews that it's a multi-sig address, but there's only one signer, and currently he's the signer. So
okay. So he can unilaterally move coins.
Things start to get weird, but it's also there are bounties on his head right now because he's holding, and there's Argentinian cartels going after his fan. Like things are starting to get a little weird.
Like legit like on his head.
Oh yeah. That stuff happens in crypto.
Okay,
look, bounties on people's head?
Can I offer this? Because I asked Grok who the board of directors is for Kelsier Ventures. Of course, Hayden Mark Davis is the CEO, but the chairman is Tom Davis, Hayden's father.
Oh,
and I asked
yes.
Grok if any of these people had ties to U.S. intelligence, because this just feels like the deep state trying to get the libertarian president involved in some sketchy crypto scam so that they can impeach him and get him out of office and put in some puppet.
Before you give that answer, I want to give some context to his father.
Okay.
His father did go to jail and then renounced all his criminal ways because he became a Christian.
There you go. That was basically what I was going to add, minus the Christian part.
I'm not gay no more.
I like women.
So what is the answer that came up?
Okay,
Joe?
so it says this about Tom Davis when asked, do they have intelligence ties? Tom Davis, Hayden's father and chairman of Kelsier Ventures, has a more colorful history than his son. He has acknowledged a past involvement in identity fraud, an FBI investigation, and prison time, followed by a reinvention as a restaurateur, pastor, and charity leader. His entry into the crypto space via Dubai aligns with a broader trend of entrepreneurs pivoting to emerging markets, not necessarily an intelligence-linked move. Okay. The FBI interaction is the closest documented brush with a U.S. agency, but it was a target of law enforcement, not a collaborator. Some might speculate that his past legal troubles and subsequent global business ventures could make him a candidate for recruitment as an informant or asset, common in intelligence work with individuals who have checkered histories. But there's no evidence of this. His familiar role in Kelsier Ventures and the podcast Young, Dumb, and Woke with his son suggests a tight-knit operation, not a front for intelligence activity. So Grok is suspicious, at least, that there isn't any overt evidence that he is, but certainly not the most clean-cut guy to be running a venture or advising a president on how to start a crypto meme coin.
Well, I have another bit of a bombshell on here.
Please.
On the relationship with Milei. Now, this is a thing where CoinDesk reported a text message that who sent it in, they've kept anonymous. So somebody was talking with Hayden, and well, Hayden, in this text message with an anonymous person, allegedly, claims that he paid Argentinian President Milei's sister.
For what?
But let me actually pull the text message thread.
I mean that honestly, Bennett. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Look, so he says, so it says the gray is him, is Hayden Davis. Sweet. Also, we can Also, we can also have Milei tweet and meet in person and do promo. I control that N-word. And whoever was responding, it says, that's fucking sick. And it says, I send money to his sister and he signs whatever I say and does what I want. Crazy as shit.
Huh. Now,
there's no way of confirming if this is real or not.
True.
CoinDesk reported it. It's the only place I've seen reported. Comes from an anonymous tip.
very interesting. There's also another connection that Grok pulled up here too, which is more contextual.
Can we have a quick timeout? Mm-hmm. All right. So the person who sent this text was the Paul, like the redheaded Paul brother looking dude. Is that who we're talking about?
The person on the other end, the person saying I control that is Hayden on this.
Okay, and he's the one we watched the video of? Yes,
correct.
Why is he calling? I'm just confused by his use of the N-word here.
that is a worthwhile confusion.
both for his usage and for saying it towards Milei.
CoinDesk claims that they have seen the text message themselves from the anonymous person. Like they have seen it in person. So they're kind of putting their credibility on this, saying that, but they're leaving the person anonymous, who is the person in blue here.
Got it.
Interesting piece here. I just want to add, there are ties between the Davis family. I believe it's, I want to say it's Tom Davis, the chairman, and Hayden's father has ties. His brother, rather, Glenn, is supposedly very close with the Trump family. So,
which that would be the ties to Melania coin,
correct, and also the ties to Milei, because we know Trump and Milei are at least fairly well acquainted at this point. So that would have probably been their in to this situation.
So let me peel back and share what the plan appeared to be with the coin.
Okay.
Like what Milei's plan was. So there was this kind of, he endorsed it, saying that it's going to help private companies, and there's going to be like some sort of rewards going to private companies and stirring up economic growth within the country. And but there also appeared to be a broader plan where Milei wanted to slowly, this was kind of an experiment for Milei to slowly start introducing blockchain technology for Argentina to be getting more and more on chain as a whole. Kind of like think El Salvador, kind of that type of stuff.
Ask, like El Salvador.
But the difference here, though, to me, on that strategy is, you would think that if you wanted to introduce blockchain technology, you would introduce it in a way that adds value first, right? And then tokenize the value so that there was some sort of substance to the thing, not launch a meme coin. That seems like cart before the horse to me.
Well, and this is one of the things, is these crypto advisors on everybody's teams. Oftentimes, some of the celebrities and stuff, they're kind of just getting a quick grab bag, whatever. They get paid to promote a tweet, blah, blah, blah. But these advisors on Haktua Coin, let's say. So Haley Welch, the Haktua girl, on her podcast promoted Haktua Coin, and it quickly got completely obliterated. And a lot of people, she's currently facing legal action, all this stuff. It appeared to be the people on her team were the ones sniping it. Now, Hayden Davis wasn't associated with it, to my knowledge, but like they're the ones sniping it. They're the ones wrecking the project. They're the ones doing the stuff. So it's like the crypto advisors are going to these celebrities and being like, yeah, we can get you in on this culture coin. You're going to be able to like tokenize your success. You're going to be able to do these reward programs with it. They're like selling them this vision of it. And then the celebrities are like, they have no idea what they're talking. Like they don't know crypto. And then, but the people that are advising them, they do know crypto and they know the shady parts of crypto. And then they're the ones just pulling the rug out from everything. And then they're left. And then it's just the celebrity that's left with like the influence shame that comes with it. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of think of like Brady with FTX shit.
Yeah. Yeah. He was endorsing FTX. He was doing those cringy commercials with Sam Bankman-Fried. And so part of the thing here was Hayden Davis was also the next coin he was going to launch after this was Dave Portnoy's coin. Dave Portnoy was going to do a celebrity coin. And Hayden Davis got Milei and Portnoy to meet each other, and they were going to do cross-promotional of these two projects. And Portnoy was going to, through Barstool, promote Argentina and like and kind of be like, he's like, oh man, I'm learning more about this Milei guy, and I'm really liking what he's doing. So he was because remember, Portnoy doing the Trump interview was like a big deal back in the previous Trump administration. It was kind of like this really big cultural event when Portnoy did that. Yeah. It was like, you're going to do the same thing with Milei, and there's going to be this like cross beneficial effects, and Argentina is going to partner with Barstool, and it was going to be this like whole thing on the background that was happening.
What a world. What
this
a
was
world.
the plan that was going on.
It seems so stupid.
It's so stupid.
So dumb.
To the point where Portnoy decided that he actually invested $5 million of his own money into Libra when it launched.
Oh, no.
It wasn't like, it was actually like he was getting sold on Libra and Milei, where he invested $5 million into his own money in. But because Hayden and Portnoy were kind of becoming boys because they were working on the project, Hayden refunded Portnoy his $5 million investment. And Portnoy, kind of being an honest guy, told people that. And then it caused this drama where Hayden Davis is like, because he's trying to work out, should I be refunding people? Should I be injecting it back? Where it caused this whole new backlash because he refunded Portnoy.
Does he have like all the money?
Yeah.
Like literally every penny.
The $100 million.
Yeah, it's like 120 or something like that.
Crazy. Well, of course he should refund people. This is the stupidest fucking idea I've ever heard of. And frankly, I'm disappointed in Javier Milei for being fooled into doing this. Or bribed, I guess it sounds like, if that text is true. And his sister's getting paid off and she's influencing him.
His sister is one of his core advisors, right? So like it might be more about the sister.
Very interesting to me. Yeah, I mean, I could see where he's like, oh yeah, like I know of Bitcoin, I know of cryptocurrency. I think it's generally good. I see what what Bukele has done in El Salvador. I think that's an interesting model we should explore. And he just gets involved without knowing very much. But dude, you have to do your due diligence. Like as the leader of a country and putting your endorsement on some stupid fucking meme coin is just about the least thoughtful thing you could possibly do. And he doesn't strike me as that kind of guy per se, but I guess I don't know.
Especially because you have to have a target on your back because you're controversial.
For sure.
From like the rest of the world, especially the US.
You got to be careful. You got to be like
extra. You have to be way more careful than a normal president would need to be.
Well, and that's the thing about the meme coin thing is because like meme coins can be built upon. And what was in Milei's mind was that this is going to be a thing that's like a multi-year project where it's going to be continually being built upon. That's actually how some of the more, let's say, successful meme coins, that is kind of what happens. It's kind of like there's an initial launch and it's kind of like an initial stock launch or something like that, where things then start to be built upon and a culture develops around them and so on.
An IPO.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that seems to be what was the thought process in his mind. And it's like, this is going to be slowly integrated and it'll be kind of part of the Argentina crypto project in a sense. And he looked at like the success of Trump coin. Trump coin was successful before the markets kind of tanked. Like it was kind of going and going and going. And then Melania kind of screwed it. And that was a separate team that did it. And Melania was really what screwed over Trump.
That bitch.
Like Trump coin became a top 20 coin. Like it became like it was one of the most successful coins of all time.
But again, like
right?
My problem with all of this is like all it's doing is playing off of celebrity. There's no real value there. You know, if you look at like any of the layer ones, it's like you can build things on them. But these are just like they're vacuous and devoid of any real substance whatsoever. That like I don't know, just this whole idea. It's like you have to know going into this, like you're gambling. It's just gambling. That's all it is.
Well, and that's kind of why I wanted to put out like the little bit of a historical knowledge on crypto culture up front, where I don't want people to think that the Solana trench warrior meme coin culture is all that there is of crypto. Like despite my gripes with the Bitcoin maxis and stuff, some of the stuff that goes on with Bitcoin, like there's an ideological front that exists there, that, which is important in a sense. And then like on the Ethereum side, like there's a lot of developer stuff that's going on. Like there's passion about building useful things for the future of the world that is going on. But then there's this like degenerate side, right? And unfortunately, that degenerate side has now reached presidential international levels, right? That's kind of the message that I'm trying to get across with this whole thing right now.
This seems to be an inflection point of hopefully awareness, where in the wake of Melania coin, crashing Trump coin, and now this failed Libra, world leaders should not be pumping meme coins. It's stupid. You have
radical opinion, Joe.
I don't know. Yeah, super fucking hot take over here. But like, come on, this is fucking retarded. He's got way more interesting and valuable things to do than this. And again, if you wanted to integrate blockchain,
he's gonna give Elon chainsaws.
Exactly. I mean, and look.
Well, the El Salvador model is way more interesting, right? Like they're building treasury assets with Bitcoin. They're trying to encourage crypto development to be happening in there. Like Bukele's not sitting there pumping a random coin that just launched kind of thing. Like it's building. And same with like the Trump Bitcoin Strategic Reserve and stuff like that.
That's what I was going to just say.
And it's also like I don't want people to think that Trump coin and also what World Liberty Fi is doing, which is the Trump organization, like decentralized project that's going on. Like Trump coin and those things are not the same thing either. Like those are separate. Like everybody in the Trump orbit. And this is the problem that happened with Trump too. After the Trump coin launch and after the Melania launch, you had a bunch of people in the Trump circuit getting on Pump.fun and creating their own coins. Like you had Ryan Fournier, the head of Students for Trump. He sat there when the TikTok ban stuff was happening. He made TikTok coin and then completely rugged it and publicly said it on Twitter because he didn't know what he was doing. Like he literally was just like, I don't know, it was going down. Anyone would have sold, and he cashed out like $1.7 million on it, and he's just like he was just like, I'm sorry, I didn't know what I was doing, kind of thing. And the thing is, I think he actually didn't know what he was doing. Like I think he was actually just being functionally retarded, but it was so retarded that it just started crashing the markets because all this nonsense started happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I have trouble figuring out where to place most of the blame in this situation because ultimately, some blame, maybe a majority of the blame, should be placed on the people who put their money into these stupid fucking projects without doing any research on what they are or how valuable they are, what they're based on, which is nothing. So it's like, I can't necessarily.
I think it's functionally retarded to be so involved. Like, I get if you want to like do some like quick gambling or something like that, like that's fine. But there are people like this is their identities, is this trench warrior mindset, and there's such a cabal on the control of the prices of these coins. Where it's so heavily manipulated by whales. Like there's massive whale chats with like 100 people in them. Like there's Chinese whale chats, there's American whale chats, there's Euro whale chats. Like these things exist, and there's like a cabal and there's mafias that are formed around them. And like, if you think that you're just a regular person and you're playing with the house's money and that can be pulled out from under you, there's an advantage, a supreme advantage going to the house. And that is the cabals that exist around the coins themselves. Like you are gambling at a casino and the casino has the advantage, even more so than a normal casino when you're going into this segment of crypto.
Well, kind of sad for Javier Milei, I'll be honest. I mean, he had a really good thing going. I won't say it's all been ruined per se, but this was just an absolute lapse in judgment, if you ask me.
Since I put these notes together, it's looking like the impeachment's less and less likely, but it is one of these things where he does have such a target on his back. The entrenched powers of Argentina and the corrupt like cartel nature in Argentina, like they want him out. So they're going to be pushing it as hard as they can.
For sure.
I'm sure there are forces here that want him out too.
I can only imagine.
Oh yeah.
All of them. Well, final thoughts before we wrap up here?
Don't gamble on meme coins. Not financial advice.
And most importantly, do your own research, motherfuckers. All right, Kyle, thanks for breaking that down for us. Definitely helps to shed light on the situation. Definitely don't know what to think about that.
I hope it made sense to people that don't understand crypto. Like,
mostly because I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
So I was mostly following along.
You get the vibe. You get the vibe.
Yeah.
Well, if you have questions, members, on this, definitely reach out to Kyle in the SCIF chat on the Discord. And we'll certainly be continuing to follow this, especially if impeachment proceedings do happen with regard to Javier Milei. I guess that's all for today. So thank you for watching. We appreciate you for supporting the show once again. On behalf of Kyle Mack and Bennett, I'm Joe Sheehan. This is the SCIF. See you next time.
Peace.